Have a go.
Okay, well, the reason I chose this clip was because uh, not only is it key to the plot in that it's kind of the culmination of everything that happens, but also because it's quite interesting to look at a lot of um, the effects that the directors use throughout the film. Um, so I'll start with a technical analysis. Um, in terms of the camera, there's not many close-ups in the scene, which is reflective of the film as a whole. And this allows the viewer to focus in on the action instead of getting tied up in the emotions of the characters. And the long shots, the surplus of long shots, gives an isolated feel to the film, which works in tandem with the setting, which I'll mention in a short while. Um, Movement of the camera is very restricted for the most part, but when it does move about, it's quite key and important, and it highlights the key features that the Coen brothers are trying to highlight. So, for instance, at the start of the scene, we see the camera focus on the Sierra as the car's driving past, which, of course, being a key prop, is important in the scene. And we also see it later when the camera tracks with Marge as she's about to discover the villain and the wood chipper. Um, Later on, we also see a canted angle shot in the car when he's been arrested, which shows us kind of Marge's the villain from Marge's viewpoint, and that how she can't understand his motives and what he's actually why he's actually doing what he's doing. In terms of mise en scène, the use of colour is quite important. Black and white, particularly, which is again reflective of the film as a whole. It's not just in the scenery, but it's also used to challenge stereotypes any stereotypes that the viewer might have. For instance, white is a colour that we would associate with innocence, but we see that the villain, the main kind of evil character in the film, wearing mostly white, which challenges stereotypes. And we see it while he's shoving his accomplice's foot into the wood chipper. Which also brings up red, which is an important colour in the scene, as it contrasts with the white of the scenery and of the costume of the villain, and it also symbolises the danger and the menace of the character. We see that rather than what the characters are wearing, it's what they're doing that defines them. Which we can also see in Marge's clothes. We would expect her to be wearing lighter clothes and the villain to be wearing darker clothes to signify the kind of good and evil perspectives, but it's the other way around, so it challenges stereotypes. Lighting in the scene and in the film as a whole is very low key and natural. The exception in the scene being the hard light shot of the villain in the car in the back seat, which creates a sort of silhouette effect and makes him seem less human. The setting as a whole is outdoors in the winter, which reflects not only the lifestyle of the locals, but also the cold nature of the villain. The proximity of the characters in the scene says a lot about them. Um, they're quite far removed, both literally in that Marge is a local and the villain is from outside of town, and ideologically, in that Marge is not a criminal and she's actually enforces the law. Again, in terms of the character of Marge, the fact that she is pregnant, this challenges stereotypes and shows her to be a determined character despite the fact that she's pregnant. In terms of props, as I've already mentioned the Sierra, and that's important as it shows the importance of money for the characters in the film. Carl, the villain's accomplice, is killed over in an argument over the ownership of the Sierra, and the story itself does not happen without money. The key prop in the scene is the wood chipper, and it could be said that this stands as a metaphor for the life of the villain, as he's destroying the lives of others by, well, he's already killed his accomplice by this stage, but he's symbolically killing his accomplice. He's also destroying his own chances of happiness. Sound, the dominant sound in the scene is the grinding of the wood chipper, which creates suspense as the audience don't know what it is, and that's the key example of diegetic sound. Non-diegetic sound wise, the soundtrack is very somber yet simple and traditional, which reflects the characters of the locals. Editing, there's very little in the way of showy editing. There's a lot of slow cuts to create suspense, and also some reaction shots to show Marge's reaction to the events. Characterization, I've already mentioned stereotypes. The area in which the film's set is represented stereotypically. We've got the idea of the simple folk of Minnesota, which is created by the use of mise-en-scène, the accent, and the setting itself. And then we also have the role of men and women being subverted. The woman is the key authority figure in my scene, and in her family she is the breadwinner and the man is at home doing painting. Marge as a character is also a key character for challenging stereotypes, as although she's pregnant, she's also fairly intelligent by the film standards. We see a general lack of intelligence from the locals, which challenges this. By contrast, we've got a fairly stereotypical villain. He's an alien, a foreign character. He's evil, and he has no apparent sense of morals, which kind of panders to the stereotypes that we would expect from a villain. The themes, I've already mentioned men versus women, and the kind of contrast that creates, use of binary oppositions. The woman arrests the man. She's the one that at the end of the film is comforting her husband, not the other way around, and she is in charge. There's also money, as she says in the scene, there's more to life than a little money, and as I've already mentioned, without money there is no film, nothing happens. Power is also a key theme. Power, which seems to be signified both through status, which Gustafsson and Marge, and the kind of seemingly good characters, or that society would consider to be good characters, they have the authority and the power. And then we also see the physical power that the villain and his accomplice have. And the film is also about Jerry's lack of power, which is again a contrast to the people with status. Paul Bunyan, while not being a theme, I think he does stand as a strong metaphor for the ridiculous nature of the film itself. He's one of the original tall tales, and we can see in his depiction, we see him in the scene, that we see the ridiculous nature of the film itself and the narrative. Especially when we see earlier on that it's mentioned as factual. The film is meant to be based on a true story. Although it's fictional, this kind of makes it seem more real, despite the fact that it's so ludicrous. The target demographic of the film seems to be males. On IMDb, there's no real polarity in terms of who likes the film and who doesn't like the film. Most of the people that watched it are between 18 and 45, which is similar to most Coen Brothers films. In terms of the genre, it's a black comedy. It treats serious issues fairly lightly, as such. It's similar to other work of the Coen Brothers in that it shows a theme of money. Money seemingly is the power in the film, and it's also used to show flaws in the characters. So, for instance, greed in Jerry's case, and incompetence in terms of the characters as a whole. It shares its sparse setting and slow-cut style with No Country for Old Men. In fact, I think Fargo could almost be a western were it not for the setting itself, due to the kind of simple nature of the characters and the setting, the general style of the film. Economically, it was cheap to make, which reflects the society it depicts. The narrative is omniscient and makes it even more apparent to us how absurd the film is. binary oppositions, we see quite a lot of them. We've got the rich-poor contrast, law and disorder, which shows that the film is at its heart about conflict and the fallout from conflict.